All right, and now I have to say this is a perfect follow-on, given Vivek's endorsement. This is my advice to the last three, and that's the focus of tonight's angle. All right, after what we witnessed in Iowa last night, it's time for everyone to start living in the real world. Now, Donald Trump won the caucuses by a historic margin. Sorry, Joe Scarborough. Now, despite being far outspent in advertising, despite the media onslaught against him, despite being indicted 4 times and having to split time between courtrooms and the campaign trail, he did it. And at 77 years old, he's the Energizer candidate. So last night, after giving his victory speech, he left Des Moines around 11 p.m. Central Time. He flew back to New York and then was in court again today. And then he flew to New Hampshire to do the event that you just saw. Now, look, unless something unthinkable happens, Donald Trump is going to be the nominee of the Republican Party. And the party is more unified now, but behind him and his policies, than at any time since the Reagan years, or maybe right after 9/11. Now, this is not spin, it's the truth. If beating Joe Biden is really their goal, then it's time for some serious soul-searching by Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis. Now, let's start with DeSantis. He outperformed last night. He beat Nikki Haley's war chest, so he has a lot to be proud of. As a candidate on the trail, he worked his butt off. And people forget how young he is. So with, 3 more years as Florida's governor? He can build an even greater track record of success in that very important state. So a future in the Republican Party for him could be really bright. But he's simply not going to be president this time around. I know it's hard to hear. You worked really hard for it. It's not happening. Trump is simply too powerful and has endured too much. Voters aren't going to turn their backs on him at this point. And every day that Ron DeSantis stays on the campaign trail criticizing Trump is a day that hurts Ron DeSantis' political future. He doesn't gain anything from it, that's for sure. And Trump, he's not hurt by it at all. So it's time to step aside and endorse Trump. Waiting for South Carolina, it's a colossal waste of time, it's a waste of money, and frankly, it's a waste of your future political capital. And as for Nikki Haley, well, my advice is this. Stop listening to your high-priced campaign consultants who are telling you what they think you want to hear. Now, I know these people, and I'm telling you, they fly around on their private planes on the money that they make from these candidates, and they tell their clients to repeat silly lines. When she said this one, it was a silly line.
I can safely say tonight, Iowa made this Republican primary a 2-person race.
Now, the numbers showed Haley getting about 19% of the caucus votes. But what I wanted to say last night when I was on with Brett and Martha, and I forgot in the excitement of the moment, was the real percentage of Republican support she received is even lower. Because at the 3 precinct caucuses that I attended, Democrats turned out in huge numbers to support her. One of the caucus temporary chairs told me that it was about a half of the people in the caucuses where I was were actually Democrats. So these people hate Trump. They want to stop him by any means necessary. And they know that Nikki Haley, to them at least, is the most similar to Biden in the Republican field on issues from DEI to trade and the border.
Let's keep in mind, these people that are wanting to come here, they want to come for a better life, too. They have kids, too. They have a heart, too.
Now, I'm not sure why Nikki Haley thought that getting endorsements from people like Chris Sununu or Larry Hogan was going to help. You know, both are never Trumpers, and neither are respected by grassroots Republicans, period, end of story. So if she wants a future in the Republican Party, Haley needs to tune out the never-Trumpers, not embrace them. And then she needs to go to her donors, and this will be a toughie, and say to them this. Look, the party has moved on. It's not 2003 anymore, and we have to move on with it. The only alternative, for her at least, is to simply retreat from politics altogether. Because long after Trump retires, this is going to remain a conservative populist party. We're not going back. Look at the voter analysis survey that Fox did before the caucuses. It was amazing. Immigration remains the top issue, even here in Iowa. And on Ukraine, only 42% thought we should keep funding the war effort there. On foreign policy, in general, respondents were leaning far more toward the MAGA agenda than the old guard interventionist agenda. That was clear. So every day Nikki Haley spends on the campaign trail, beating the old, establishment horse or criticizing Trump, she's just further destroying her chances of being an influential voice in Republican politics in the future. So if she dropped out today, if she came to terms with the fact that the GOP is a populist party, if she started vigorously campaigning for Trump, she could perhaps rebuild some of the trust that she's lost among the GOP base. I'm not saying this is going to be easy. Maybe it won't even be possible, and it would take time. Could maybe take years, but it's the only way. Now, if all she wants to do for her future is to be invited to sit on corporate boards or be a panelist at Davos every year, she can go the Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger route. Both are useful idiots for the left, and they're hated by the right. Again, nothing personal, but Haley is going to be humiliated in her home state of South Carolina. Best to avoid that. Just ask Jeb Bush. And finally, for President Trump, my advice is simple. You've run a very smart campaign. You never back down. But now the focus should almost exclusively shift to the general election. To beat Biden, you're going to need 270 electoral votes. So I think a strategy of no state left behind should be your sole focus now. The numbers coming out of Georgia today were stunning, very encouraging. A new Atlanta Journal-Constitution poll has Trump up 8 points on Biden. That is amazing. But look, we also know the Democrats are going to stop at nothing. They see this train coming down the track, and they want to derail it. And if they can, they're going to game the system or, maybe even cheat. After all, they say Trump is Hitler, so they have to stop him. They have to. So does the RNC or do outside groups have a Republican mail-in ballot strategy? Do they have a get-out-the-vote strategy that's going to be able to compete with the Biden turnout machine? Because I can tell you this, the Jeffrey Katzenberg-Zuckerberg crew, they're going to be spending huge money again in urban and suburban areas to levitate the cadaverous Biden campaign to victory. This is the real challenge Donald Trump faces, along with the constant lawfare attacks to take him off the ballot. His Republican competition will be dropping out soon enough. Now, we were in the audience, some of the anglers, at Trump's victory speech last night, and I couldn't help but notice, first of all, the fake media was in a bad mood behind us. We were howling, laughing. It was so funny. But he was pretty gracious about wanting to work with Democrats to clean up our great cities.
We're going to rebuild our cities, and we'll work with the Democrats to do it. I'd be glad to work with the people in New York. We're going to work with the people in Chicago and L.A. We're going to rebuild our cities, and we're going to make them safe, and we're going to give our police officers immunity.
That's what people want to hear. Suburban women like hearing those kinds of things. So do the young people. Keep it up. And Hispanics and working-class African-American voters, they don't support what's happening to this country. Few people really do. So keep making overtures to those groups. It's working. Campaigns are bubbles where fantasy stories of possible success are told to candidates like Asa Hutchinson and Chris Christie. Neither ever had a chance, a snowball's chance in hell of winning. The consultants and the political hacks, they've made enough money over the years to give bad advice. It's time to follow the people. Their advice is a lot better. And most of the Republican voters are saying one word, Trump. And that's the angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.